So the first thing, so say I was looking at this river, the first thing I do is look at how it's connected. So if you go onto the EPA maps, you can pull down, that's the Carrowbeg. So,
there's a point here.
Alright.
We're talking about.
Right. So it actually, because I was thinking of, let me see, so there's Whelan, Napa. So I think we were on this part of it,
Yeah.
and you can put on the flow, direction of flow arrows, so you can find out, if you, where you start, where you are, what's behind you, and where it's going. So that's really useful. It's a really useful start point, so you can see that that flows in, and it goes on through Westport and into Clew Bay. But also these ones here also join. So that's the other lake. I think you were.
Well, there's a smaller one here, but that's a big one. That was on that joins. So even if we measure that kilometre, the value here hasn't got this bit in it. So that's a flaw on my thinking.
Right. And that's you can see that's I think it's a natural heritage area, because I'll come to that later.
That's Mount Brown, I think, is it?
Sorry?
That Mount Brown?
I'm not sure.
I think it is, that area anyway,
Yeah. And that's the woodland there that we could see from the last place we were at.
Sorry, Jackie, just to interrupt, but just to make the point I made, because this map is perfect, that I made earlier to Tom. So what tends to happen when people start discussing this is they'll discuss the problem area, they'll discuss the tributary, but they won't actually think about the consequences of what's happening around it. So if we got people focused on Napa Bay, the danger is that they'd look at a wetland in this area and they'd not think about the subcatchments at all. If the subcatchments then have been very severely drained, get cut out, because a mountain of water could come down those. So unless the programme actually encompasses all of the water in the catchment, you can't actually do what we're suggesting. So just to be clear on that, you can't do little bits, you have to actually understand the whole lot. And that all those data are available, but somebody has to pull them together. You'll find that the county council will have piles of information, but it won't have it all. The EPA is the same. So somebody has to pull it together and draw it. That's really what's needed.
Yeah, so that's a great start point, EPA maps, because you can identify the connected water courses to the bit that you're looking at, because all of those connections will influence the bit that you're looking at. And then the bit that you're looking at will have an influence downstream. So I always go to, like, the resources now are just amazing. So that's where I'd go first, and then yeah. So then this is the map Martin was talking about, and if you go onto this, so it took me a while to find it because they've changed them slightly.
This is the OSI. I'm not sure I know that.
So if you go into here, the National Town Historical Map here, so it's in the OSI website, and you can put on layers, and you can use this tool here, the slide tool, and you can pull back, so you can make your top layer, that's the 1830s map, and you can make it a bit transparent, and you can overlay it onto your aerial. And so you can just see land use change. It's incredible. So this slide about floods here is now all of your build-up area. Yeah.
Tesco.
Yeah, that's where we were having our discussion there.
It's ridiculous. Why did they
Yeah.
That's worse than that. We were looking at, there's an apartment where the basement is below the level of the river, and the flood, they flooded, and the people who own have put up a flood barrier of their own making, and they've now trying to, well, I think they overdone it in the council, putting in a more formal one now.
Yeah.
Is that where we were a few weeks ago?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we walked up along here.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can see that there is liable floods. So
I can't understand why the planning authorities would let anything be built there, then it doesn't make sense.
I was talking about the architects in town.
It's very wrong.
Yeah, it's all over. You know, I suppose those areas where towns focused on rivers, and then they grew out and they grew out along rivers. It's happened everywhere. Yeah. So
and they used to think in the past as well that if they built a wall, they'd be able to stop the flooding. That's always the approach that was taken. Yeah, it might be liable to flooding, but we can stop that. We can build a big wall. So everything you're seeing here is what I mentioned earlier, this geographical information system, this idea that you can layer on the information. So that is worth spending a little bit of time, it's very intuitive. You can actually learn how to do it very quickly. And when I did my first GIS course, it took us probably 10 days to learn how to do what Jackie has just said, just overlaying one little bit of map, because you do it all manually. It's all available to you now, so you can actually make a case very quickly if you get used to it.
Yeah.
And I think Imam Tiernan Henry, who will be with us tomorrow, they're running a free GIS course for students.
He's great, Tiernan.
Just in Donegal.
Well, it was available, I think, but they had run for 2 live students in Donegal. That was what he was talking about.
And what to do in the mail?
Well, I think it's online. I think it's
But we'll have him tomorrow as a captive audience. We can share him what he says.
I mean, he's using a formal GIS package called QGIS, which is free to download, but there is a steep learning curve to it. This is easier in the sense that all the data set you just turn it on and off. You can't add your own stations into it.
No.
Although you can do that, you can add in. When I'm on some sampling, I have the XYs that norms for all my stations and put them into Google Maps and then I navigate from one to the next. It's really, well, it's easy, but it's very handy.
Yeah.
It's a way of checking that the stations are in the right place. Sorry.
No, it's
The layers are fabulous.
It's a brilliant resource. It really tunes in and it shows you what's happening.
And if you get into the legends, all of these things mean something different, you know? There's a huge amount of information there.
Yeah, I mean that's
They're at Colonel's Wood, which have done a beautiful job. Like walking area and little park and all that. Now, that's lovely. On the left then, when the houses were built, and there are 3-bed facilities, and 2 of the bedrooms is below the level.
Yeah.
You've got the colour of the cellar. Below the level of the river.
They know colours, don't they?
No, they have put in themselves.
They could be drowned in their sleep. They could be drowned in their sleep if there's flooded out.
Well, what they've done is you put like big Lego blocks at the end of the garden along the river to stop the water coming into the garden, and the Lego blocks in front of it could be as big as that table. And they themselves do that. And now the OPW, in partnership with the council, are putting in more, I think, banks, you could call them, the soil, the bit of soil, along there. What do you think of that?
Is it going to shove it downstream?
I suppose.
It's just want to move the problem
we have a
somewhere
river
else.
that's going straight through the corner.
That's the problem.
They don't.
There's big money. There's big money being spent here now.
Absolutely.
Over $750,000.
Well, that's what I was saying about the cost of these things. When they decided to put the extra 35 centimetres on the wall, I couldn't believe it was millions. And it sounded so little.
I think I measured the area. It's about 10,000 square meters, something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But if you multiply that by 10 millimeters, you can calculate the amount of water that's going to come off it in quick time, like right down. So it's the question of, like, Tesco, that big estate there only went in 2007. I think I found it on the archive, and then it was opened in December 2007. So it'd be very interesting to look. It'd be interesting to look at before and after. Yeah, see, did it actually? Does it have an effect? I don't know.
Well, we saw with the pathway.
Yeah, it was actually
scar away completely.
So the data's there. But that's the kind of city project.
Christy, did they get any advice from people like these here now? About have they got it? Have they?
We had an engineer in specialising in this.
And what do you
And
think?
he said it won't cause a problem at all, meaning the tunnel. Now, I get phone calls about and the river, and what you say to them is, when you get out and cut the trees, the branches of the trees are across the river and stopping the flow of water. That's the wrong thing to do.
It might be helping because up in Whelan, one of the things they did is they put in these leaky dams, they put in logs across the side stream, or not the main
So
line,
like the
side stream,
underground, like,
to slow it down, so that that big peak, you get the lower peak where it doesn't hit the flooding threshold.
But in England, they're doing that big time, I think,
yeah,
aren't
they
they?
are, I saw
Yeah,
program on
yeah,
it.
they're doing big time, yeah.
And some of those links there have, you can link back into some of that stuff, that European river restoration, there's lots of stuff, there's lots and lots of ideas there. And that working group on natural flow, there's 3 documents associated with that, and some of them are very detailed in terms of how well do these things work and whatever, and they have, all graded it for whether they're good for climate change, good for biodiversity or flow.
I suppose it'd be great if arising from this, it didn't happen anymore. that those flood areas were reclaimed or built on, because those houses have to be protected now, don't they? But maybe coming out of it could be that the nature-based solutions would be looked at in turn, because it probably won't. I don't know. Probably won't. There will be a flooding event that will exceed those.
Can they put in those ponds that you were saying, like the deal on motorways? Could they put more ponds so that the flooding
That's certainly
would
that was one of the things they had. Was plugging in.
Oh, sad,
And maybe even, but I don't know, under the Tesla, I'm assuming there's no ballast there at the moment. It just all runs straight into the river. But ideally, you'd have a big tank that would store it for a while and then slow it down. Have you got more?
Yeah. Just the good thing from this map is that the woodland. So that shows that the woodland was there in the 1830s. Yeah. Now it's not the same trees that are there now, but it means that the ground floor has always been under wood cover. So the potential for that woodland to return to a lovely native woodland, and that's Coach's plan. It's a biodiversity area, and a Coach's biodiversity area in Scotland here, where wood scheme will be to return to native woodland. So that's on the positive side. On one side of the river, it's a disaster. On the other side, it's lovely woodland. And then, right, there's another one. Yeah, so this is upstream. Now, I actually think that's where we were. I think this is the bit that
That's Garrigle, isn't it?
where we stopped.
That's the house.
Yeah, and so it was where that's the ash plantation. And well, there's a drain. So this was all liable to floods. This
So that's where we stopped at the bridge.
No, it's where we stopped.
The second bit.
They said that at the end.
Yeah.
And that's probably the plantation that's just been cut down.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we parked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's still wet, and if it was allowed, if this drain was allowed, it wasn't doing a whole lot, but if it was allowed just to re-wet, that would be like a sponge area that would take the rain, the high rainfall, hold it, and slowly release it. Because that's the problem. We've lost all those sponge parts from the landscape. So it's interesting that we were there, because I didn't know.
But Ken, he did a good bit of scouting.
We were in there, yeah.
That Y-shaped thing in the bottom is Patamary's house.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the Carrowbeg, and so when we look at let me see, so you can see this. So back in the 1830s, that was rough ground, okay, and bog, and there is a bit of match up still, not here, so that's been improved. All the green shows it's been improved. I'm not sure what's happened there. But you can see, it was a field system back in the 1830s.
That's the trees.
Yeah, is it the trees there?
I think that top one is
Oh,
the same.
right.
That's the same. Except that's
So, yeah.
the one that was covered.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You can
So-
see the house.
So that's
Oh,
over
right,
the
we're
river.
very far from the
We're
bridge.
quite close to that
Yeah,
area.
I see now, yeah.
It's not that easy to get into it.
Where does the river go into the lake? It's on the left-hand side there, is it? That?
Here it is.
No, that's the
No.
actual. I think it comes
Oh,
down
right, comes
here.
in, yeah. Yeah, so there's a bit of marsh area here.
There was a pollution incident a few years ago. A slurry tank collapsed and the whole tank went into the lake.
Oh Lord.
I remember surveying it afterwards.
It came out in the taps. I remember it. Do you remember it?
So, but
That was the water supply for Westport.
the thing for here would be if that's grazed or cut, or it's overgrazed. So that's peatland habitat. You can see from the ground. And it has a huge potential for holding water. But if it's overgrazed, it loses that top layer of vegetation that has the sphagnum mosses that hold the water, and so the water runs into the lake and down the river. If it's cut, it again loses the potential to hold the water. So they are areas like the project Tom was talking about, where you could look at re-wetting your peatlands, and there's projects, there's the Farm Peat project, there's different projects, and they're containing, so they're aware that farmers don't want, not all land can be let flood. So, but if you can identify the areas that will get maximum benefit from re-wetting, like peatlands, and isolate that from the neighbouring farmer, then you're definitely helping the situation. And if you go back to these maps, you can see the areas with the best potential for storing water based on their history. And that's the same, that's the other area, and again, you can see there was a field system before, but also this is bog here with potential to hold water.
Yeah, these numbers are probably acres of the size of the field.
Yeah.
That's amazing detail.
Yeah. And then the other great map is this one. So this is Wetland Surveys Ireland, and it's just brilliant. So this here is that's cut over bog, this habitat here. So you can see all the pockets of cut over.
What do you mean by cut over?
So it was blanket bog. It could have been raised bog, but I'm pretty sure it's blanket bog, and it's been cut. It's been cut for turf.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now some of it may have been cut for turf quite a while ago, and it's revegetated, so it will still have potential to hold water. But then others, it'll have been cut and it's now bare peat, and it doesn't have any potential for holding water. So those are the areas if you had a group looking at the catchment, that would be a great start point. Your rivers and the peatland areas, the areas that flood, and this layer here is alluvial soils. So if you've got alluvial soil, sometime in the past, that bit of land flooded because it dropped its sediment. So that's another good start point for thinking about areas to re-wet and hold the slow flow basically. So that's the Wetland Surveys Ireland website. It's really useful. So the next one you can that I look at is, which map is this now? Oh yeah, it's the FWS. Yeah, so protected areas. Yeah, so you've got Carrowbeg down here is SAC. You've got that was one of the series of lakes, and it's a natural heritage area. That was the bit of woodland that we could see, and it's a natural heritage area. This is Brackloon down here, so it's a NHA and SAC. Yeah, so it's really.
Do you all know what SSAs and NHAs and
Special area conservation.
that's
What is NHA stand for?
natural heritage area?
That was the first layer, the identified sites of national interest, and then they put the European sites on top of that. But the national heritage areas have kind of been a bit forgotten, and actually, they're really critical. So it's kind of good not to forget them.
And like the salt marsh in Whelan, that's an SAC.
SAC, yeah.
And the river Newport with the pearl
Is SAC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Newport River SAC. So the Carrowbeg doesn't have a designation. So
I think that little wood up there is an oak wood, isn't it? Along by the railway line there.
this one
That
here,
one there, yeah.
is that an oak? Is it? Yeah, it
That's
looks
it's an old oak wood, yeah.
Looks really
My son was up there when he went up for a walk through it.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see on the old maps. I'm sure that was woodland in the 1830s. Yeah.
And is that culture probably on?
Yeah,
I think it's privately owned, Morden's what they call it. Do you know it, Pat, do you?
No, the-
No, above Morden's garage on the left hand, beside the railway line. Yeah. That would be out near where they turn off the.
Oh yeah, so the other thing you can do is you can go onto the biodiversity website, Biodiversity Ireland. You can draw a polygon, you can draw around your area of interest, and then you generate a report, and then you get a list of this one, yeah. You get a list of the species. So I just put that something. So for that area you've got pheasant, which we heard, Kestrel, Barno, curlew, swift, peregrine, white, it's very interesting, red listed species, badger and otter. Now you have to look at the date of last record. So for curlew you'd be thinking, well, that was recorded in April, so that's hopeful. So if you get a curlew, then that was
Could be breeding.
2021, yeah. If you have curlew in April, you can think about a breeding curlew. If it's a November record, it's a winter curlew. So that's it. It's a good. Now that data you have to check the source. So Birds of Ireland is somebody who's reported it. They've sent in the record. If it's a survey, Census of Ireland database. Some of them are like the breeding bird survey, the bird atlas surveys. So they were systematic surveys. So it's a great resource. Then you have to go and back it up with your own surveys. So that was there. So if you want to do a survey, you can do habitat survey. You can do Martin's gone through these. Read the bird return surveys. There's Botanical Society days. There's a Dragonfly Day coming up in Belcarra. The Biodiversity Ireland have been great workshop days. I was looking at that. So there's a load of potential if you're interested in, looking at it depends on what scale of project you want to go at will determine how many people you need to get involved, but you could start it at a small level and then extend it out. But there's training associated with lots of those surveys, so you could certainly do that.
What website's that on?
The training days. The National Biodiversity Data Centre has a lot of training days, and then the kind of Birdwatch have their own for Countryside Bird Survey and the Irish Wetland Bird Survey, and the VSBI, they're very open. You don't have to be a botanist. They let people come along. We're hoping to have one at Westport so there's the Great Yellow Bumblebee project up on the Whelan Peninsula, and Karina Dinkerhouse, she's doing training in bumblebees up there. And the Belcarra one, I'll show you now, is there. You can register for that one, the 9th of July. And I think there's still spaces on that. So I'm going to slide into that one. So then I think that was all. And then you can get funding. So you don't have to do it all yourself. You could actually, set up your area of interest and then get somebody in to look at the habitats and to look at the potential for habitat enhancement, to look at the hydrology of the water and the flow, and then as a community start doing your own kind of dedicated transects or identify certain areas that you want to work with. So there's like a lot of resources available now and then that was just what I said. That's what I think is amazing. If you start with those maps, you get an idea of what was there, in the 1830s, and it's a good start point for habitat restoration. Well, for protecting what you have first of all, and then trying to do the restoration. So the maps are the best. They're just amazing. So
So all our